So if you have an F-150 that's a 2014 model year or earlier, that means you don't have a cabin air filter. And what that also means is that if you've got a bunch of miles on it like I do, your evaporator is probably all clogged up with dirt, debris, dust, whatever else gets sucked in through the cabin air intake. What that means is your AC does not blow as cold because it can't efficiently cool the air because the air is blowing over a bunch of dust instead of the coils inside your evaporator. Ford doesn't have a fix for this issue, so if you bring this to a dealership asking them to fix this, they're going to recommend that you replace your entire evaporator assembly, which requires the entire dashboard being removed to access this box, and it's going to cost $2,000+. And to me, that was just unacceptable just because of a dirty evaporator. So what I decided is I would just cut into the evaporator box, spray out the evaporator, see if I can clean it, and see if that makes my AC colder. Basically, there's two things to be aware of. One is that the evaporator is sitting right inside here. So if you're cutting through this part of the box, you got to be super, super careful. Otherwise, you'll punch right into your evaporator. So I'm going to make a hole over here. And then the other thing that you want to watch out for is this wire. It's black, so it's hard to see. It's the same color as the box. But if you just avoid this side, avoid this wire, it should be okay. Let's give this a shot and we will see. Nope, not gonna work. All right, that was a two-hand job for sure. So, well, that was a job for two hands, let's say that. So now we got a clear view of our evaporator. It's in there. This is the side that the clean air is going to be coming through. So didn't expect this one to be dirty. So now I'll get out the bore scope, see if I can snake it around the backside and see what I think is going to be dirty. And all right, so right here, this is going to be my first time using this. We got the cheapest bore scope that Amazon can provide. So bear with me as I try to figure it out in real time. Cool. Okay, this makes sense in hindsight, but from this side, the evaporator is actually sealed off really well because you want all the air being forced through the evaporator, not around it. So to access the other side of it, we're gonna have to go from the other side, and I'm gonna remove the blower motor and the blower motor resistor to get all the electronics out of the way. Okay, to view the other side, we're gonna go in through the hole where the blower motor resistor is mounted, and you're gonna see tons of dust and dirt, and no surprise that it's not cooling the air as well. I'll show you how to take the blower motor resistor out in the next clip. This is just to show the backside of this evaporator. All right, I think today's the day that this project gets done. So what I'm gonna do, take out the blower motor. I'm gonna take out the blower motor resistor, which is right here. Basically, you want to get all the electronics out of the way for spraying cleaner and water. Then we're going to spray from this side, spray through the back side. Okay, to remove the blower motor, what we got to do, we got 3 8mm bolts. One here. Yeah, so 1, 2. This one will make you hate your life. 3 back there. For the one way back there, I'm gonna use this tiny little 8 mil just open end here. All right, for the other 2 screws, I just use this little flexible attachment, 8 mil socket. And then you disconnect your little cable here, just a little pull tab. And now you can just kind of wiggle the blower motor out. It's a bit of a tight fit, but it does just pull out. Pull this carpet out of the way for a little better clearance. There we go. Just pull. There she is. Okay, now it is time to take out our blower motor resistor. On the 2014 models, it's gonna have all that white plastic around it. On the 11 through 13, I don't know what year they actually switch it, but the earlier years have a different looking plastic. like the housing or whatever you want to call that. It's the same piece. You know that you're in the right spot if it's on this evaporator housing right under your dash. And there's just two 8mm screws on there. And to get this cable out of the way, all you do is push this little tab here, wiggle it off, and then tuck this up out of the way somewhere safe. Just loop it right up there. And then I've got this little flexible connector on here for my 8mm screws. I'll have to figure out something better to do with my phone, but there we go. It's amazing how well things work when you actually just use two hands. So then let's unthread these the rest of the way by hand. All right. Now, do the rest of this with one hand. Careful pulling it out, but this is your blower motor resistor. Pretty simple. We'll put this somewhere safe. And now we can see into our evaporator housing. Okay, I want to get rid of the glove box so that that door is not in the way. And I think all it should be, yeah. You just got 3 7mm screws, and then the door will just pop right off. Nice and easy. All right, and now this is where we're gonna get a little wild. So, because I'm about to spray a bunch of water and cleaner into this evaporator housing, I need a way to drain that so that there's not a bunch of moisture sitting in there, or that it doesn't just drain somewhere weird inside the truck. So you can see on the housing here that basically this like shape you can see all throughout the housing. That's where your actual evaporator is sitting. Inside, it's mostly empty space, with the exception, this wire runs in. This is a temperature sensor that sits inside your, like, you know, coil pack, fan, whatever, or evaporator. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a hole over here at this low point on the front side of the evaporator, and then I have poly tubing that I'm gonna insert to basically just try to drain the water out. I have no idea how well it's gonna work, so it could be a complete disaster, but either way, you're here with me. All right, so I had to go back to the drawing board for a little bit because I looked in through here with a borescope, which I will play in just a second here. And there's tons of like pretty large debris that'll clog up the poly tubing I was planning on draining all the water and gunk with. So on the front side of it, I'm going to still use the poly tubing and just try to drain some water there. So I'll drill that hole in a second. And then this side, we're still gonna have to get a little creative. I think I might just drill something here to try to get a vacuum hose in, but I don't know if I'll actually be able to do that. So still thinking on that. But let's go ahead and drill this hole. All right, so now we'll go take our poly tubing, put it in the hole. There we go. And we should be able to see just an old drain. All right, so this is admittedly sloppy, but what I did here, I just cut a hole here because I was sick of trying to figure out how to get at this thing. And now I can fit my shop vac up there, can fit the sprayer, bottle, all that. Got really easy access to clean everything up there. And let's take a look. All right, so I got some coil cleaner, which I'm going to spray up through this hole to get this side. Then I'm gonna spray it out with some water and I'm gonna film it through the borescope to try to see what's going on. So I'll be using two hands to try to get as much of this into the filter as I can. Okay, so I didn't record spraying any of this because I didn't want to spray the cleaner all over my borescope, but spraying's simple enough, you can figure it out. Even though the whole video is called how to spray out your evaporator, and I didn't record a single moment of spraying the evaporator. But you can see all the foam in here. Just make sure you get it all over the coils inside, and just get it absolutely everywhere. Let it sit, and then you'll spray it out with the hose. Now I'll show you what it looks like after I sprayed it out, and you can see there's some stuff on the bottom where I couldn't just get the hose in at the right angle. That's still a little dirty, but that's just going to be what it is, unless you want to drill even more holes. This stuff, you can see I dented the fins by getting the vacuum hose back in there, and that stuff just wouldn't come out. I set up the shop vac by just sticking the hose onto that little flap that I cut out of the evaporator assembly. So when I was spraying the hose water in, it was just flowing right through out into the shop vac, and that actually worked really well. And whatever water went through the other side got sucked down the drain hose that I installed. You can see all the plastic shavings and all that from drilling into the box. They sprayed out, no problem at all. Now some water accumulated above the drain hose, but when I pulled that out, that water drained. And then before sealing the box back up, I just let the box dry out in the summer heat. It didn't take too long. All right, so now the obvious question is, what are you gonna do with your evaporator assembly box that's got all these terrible looking holes in it that is now not airtight? The answer to that is duct tape for now. And then I have this piece that I'll put back in here. All right, so the semi-final configuration here, we got this all taped up, sealed pretty well, not too much tape. Got everything reconnected over here, blower motor resistor, blower motors back in, connected. The resistor's connected as well. And then down here, this actually seemed to seal up pretty well with just tape. So if this holds, I'm not gonna go back and reseal it. Last thing, you can see this little drip over here where I put the drain. I'm gonna leave that. For this one, I'll just use some tape and epoxy and seal that up later on. Good news is basically none of this is visible when the truck's in normal operation with the glove box on and these panels on. So it doesn't have to look pretty. It's just got to be airtight. So stay tuned. We'll see how much colder it made the AC.